Imagine a single test score determining your potential, a single test score defining what your future will be before even stepping foot onto a college campus. This is the reality for many students with the ACT. I know many of us have felt the pressure of having to take the ACT, but it's important to realize that its requirement can affect certain students, like ones who may have test anxiety or may not be as fortunate enough. There are many different students who tend to struggle with the ACT, whether it's because of anxiety, less fortunate, or do not have access to such resources. I hope today that you will all listen with an open mind while I discuss why the ACT is not accurate, the disadvantages of the ACT, and how we can find other options to fix this problem. The ACT is nothing new to students. The fact of the matter is that it's inaccurate, biased, and does not need to be required to show the potential of a student. According to fairtest.org, the ACT is biased towards class and race. They even state that the more wealthy a family is, the higher the averages will be. And according to Fairtest research, white students still outscore all of the other groups. The ACT does not accurately predict a student's performance effectively, according to Fairtest as well. The ones who even created the ACT admitted that high school grades predict a first-year college student more accurately than their ACT score. Fairtest also reports that the ACT poorly predicts the performance for the students of color. A study conducted at a medium-sized regional university in the Southwest even showed that there was only a 6.8% difference in grades their first year, while white students were predicted a 28%. The article Inside Higher Ed stated that more than 80% of the U.S. colleges and universities do not require applicants to take standardized tests like the ACT or SAT. Also, that proportion with test optional policies has since more than doubled since the spring of 2020. Higher Ed also adds that for the fall of 2025, some 85 institutions will not consider standardized test scores when reviewing applications. Now that we have discussed the problem itself, we will now get into the causes. One cause is that the ACT does not accurately represent the knowledge and skills taught in schools. Of course, there will be some things that you can recognize on the ACT, but a lot of the material was not taught in schools. For example, when I was in high school and I took the ACT, a lot of the material was unfamiliar to me, which left me feeling less confident in my abilities. A second cause is test anxiety for students. According to College Matchpoint, test anxiety is more common than you would think. They even state that 10 to 40% of students experience some level of test anxiety, with approximately 35% facing moderate to severe. The last cause for students not being able to access, the last cause is students not being able to access resources for test preparation. According to the school newspaper of Hendrick Hudson High School, the ACT has been unaffordable and inefficient to students. They even state that test preparation industry is valued at $1.7 billion by revenue in 2022, and with year-over-year growth of 2.1%. The SAT and ACT preparation costs anywhere between $40 and $200 an hour. You heard me, an hour. And books ranging from $15 to $100. So now that we have addressed the problem and the causes, let's get into ways to fix this problem. The first solution would be to allow the ACT to be optional or not required. This would allow students to equally get into colleges and get colleges to look at them as a person and not a test score. This will also relieve the stress of having to take the standardized tests for students as well, because anxiety can affect how well you do on a test. I know that happens to me. A second solution would be to look at other qualifications besides the ACT. Colleges could look at grades, GPA, what they do with their community instead of just the scores. They could also look at personal essays and really get to know the student's background on a more deeper level. The last solution would be to offer a more affordable or free tutoring program. Some people want to further their education, but they don't have the funds to properly get the help. If you're a student trying to prepare for the ACT, tutoring should be provided so some people who can't afford it can have that opportunity to further their education. In conclusion, you all have heard the evidence and my personal stance on why the ACT should be made optional or not required. I know this was a lot of information to take in, but just bear with me. Almost every student has taken the ACT at least once in their life. I know a lot of you has had that voice in the back of your head worrying if you'll make a high enough score to get into your dream college, but you all are much more than just one single test score, just one. And that one test should not define you, ever. So today I'll leave you all with this. A student's dream should not fall or rise based on a single test score that does not represent who they truly are.